Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Morgan Sankofa. I hope everybody had a great week. Today I want to make a more extended video, and I will be doing a few cool things. To me, they're cool. I want to read a few poems from Mary Oliver. I hope you can see her book called Red Bird. I can just read one of the reviews. Mary Oliver, who won the Pulitzer Prize in Poetry, is my choice for her joyous, accessible, intimate observations of the natural world. She teaches us the profound act of paying attention, a living wonder that makes it possible to appreciate all the others. Renee Loth, Boston Globe. So I marked off a bunch of poems that I'm going to read off, and then I'm also going to do a surprise history read that I'll talk about a little bit later. So I know that I'm going to enjoy doing this video, so take up, 5-10 minutes, and I hope that you enjoy. The first one is called Ocean. I am in love with the ocean, lifting her thousands of white hats in the chop of the storm, or lying smooth and blue, the loveliest bed in the world. In the personal life, there is always grief, more than enough, a heart load for each one of us on the dusty road. I suppose there is a reason for this, so I will be patient, acquiescent. But I will live nowhere except here, by ocean, trusting equally in all the blast and welcome of her sorrowless salt self. Summer Story. When the hummingbird sinks its face into the trumpet vine, into the veils of the blossoms, and the tongue leaps out and throbs, I am scorched to realize once again how many small available things are in this world that aren't pieces of gold or power that nobody owns, or I could even buy for a hillside of money that just float about the world, or drift over the fields, or into the gardens, and into the tents of the vines. And now here I am, spending my time, as the saying goes, watching until the watching turns into feeling, so that I feel I am myself, a small bird with a terrible hunger, with a thin beak probing and dipping, and a heart that races so fast. It is only a heartbeat ahead of breaking, and I am the hunger and the segment, and I am also the leaves and the blossoms, and like them I am full of delight and shaking. This one is called Summer Morning. Heart, I implore you, it's time to come back from the dark. It's morning, the hills are pink, and the roses, whatever they felt, in the valley of night, are opening now, their soft dresses, their leaves are shining. Why are you laggard? Sure, you've seen this 1,000 times, which isn't half enough. Let the world have its way with you, luminous as it is with mystery and pain, graced as it is with the ordinary. And I have about 2 more. Small bodies. It is almost summer. In the pond, the pickerel leap, and the delicate teal have brought forth their many charming young, and the turtle is ravenous. It is hard sometimes, O Lord, to be faithful. I am more boldly made than the little ducks paddling and laughing, but not so bold as the turtle with his greasy mouth. I know you know everything. I rely on this. Still, there are so many small bodies in the world for which I am afraid. And this one is called Crow Says. There's corn in the field. What should I think of else? Anyway, my thoughts are all feathery. I prefer simple beak talk. Maybe it's having wings. It does make the difference. As for that business about brothers, of course I'm concerned that we share the corn, to the extent that I get my plenty. As for later, how can later exist? When old crows die, I don't cry. I peck at their silly staring eyes and open my wings and fly to wherever I want to go. I've forgotten both father and mother, even the pile of sticks in which I was born. Well, maybe now and again, and mostly in winter, I have strange, even painful ruminations. When you're hungry and cold, it's hard to be bold, so I sulk. And I do have dreams sometimes, in which I remember the corn will come again, and vaguely, then I feel that I'm almost feeling grateful to something or other. So that's some of the poems out of Red Bird by Mary Oliver. And this is what I'm excited about, is reading a little history lesson, and I want to talk about the first African American or Black poet in the US. And I learned today that her name is Phillis Wheatley, and her first book of poetry was published on September 1st, 1773. So here's a nice fact. Oh, by the way, today I got my Black Lives Matter bracelet in the mail, so I just wanted to show that. So here's a story about Phillis Wheatley. Phillis Wheatley was only 7 or 8 years old when she was captured and taken from her home in West Africa. A slave ship brought her to Boston in 1761. Knowing nothing of the talents she would soon show the world, John Wheatley, a prosperous tailor, and his wife, Susanna, purchased the young girl directly from the ship and named her Phillis Wheatley. Wheatley grew up to be a poet. Her collection, Poems on Various Subjects, Religious and Moral, was published on September 1st, 1773. How did she become the first African American writer to publish a poetry when most slaves were forbidden to learn to read and write? One day, the Wheatleys saw Phillis writing on a wall with chalk. Rather than punish her, the Wheatleys encouraged her to learn. Their daughter tutored her in reading and writing. Wheatley also studied English literature, Latin, and the Bible. But what she did best was to write poetry. Her first poem was published in the Newport Mercury newspaper in 1767. Oh, I wanted to show the picture of what she looked like. Oh, actually, this is a picture of the Countess. I hate when people are looking at a picture and they don't show it to you, they're just looking at it. So, this is an engraving of Phillis Wheatley. I love older pictures and the style. "6 years later, in the service of the Wheatley family, Phillis Wheatley sailed to London, where she hoped to meet Selina Hastings, the Countess of Huntingdon. While they were not able to meet in person, the Countess helped Wheatley publish a volume of her poetry in 1773. Wheatley had another surprise waiting for her back at home in America. Soon after she returned home, Wheatley was given her freedom. As a free woman, she published both anti-slavery letter and a poem to George Washington, whom she had met. Washington wrote to Wheatley, thanking and praising her great poetical talents. Phillis Wheatley married John Peters, a free black man, in 1778 and published 3 more poems. Her husband, however, was not as successful in business. Wheatley became a servant later in her life. When she died, she was very poor. Although she died poor, she died a free woman. So I just wish that I had one of her poems to read, but I don't. But I think that's quite amazing, isn't it? That the first person of black origin to write a poem was actually a woman. So that is a great fact that I learned today. Hopefully you learned that today too. So I won't hold people any longer. It's been about 10 minutes. So I hope that everyone enjoyed their Sunday, and don't stop continuing to learn more about yourself and about the world. Okay? Bye.